Just like to say, you're one of the main reasons why a lot of us idiots decide to do this, because it's not cheap, as you know, and I know you're quite happily telling everybody it's not cheap. They call these things reps, and they are reps. They're not original cars. But by the time I'm finished, I'm going to be probably about 50-ish grand into this build when it's done, which sounds absolutely horrendous. But what you've got to imagine is that car's going to be built to my spec.
Do you know what? Let's take a second to reflect. That last clip, it really hits hard. I'm conscious this is the start of my video and like the intro, so I don't want to bore you off, so stay tuned, it is going to be a good video. But yeah, I've met hundreds of people through YouTube at shows and catch up with them. Honestly, I have hundreds of people messaging me. I've made friends through my YouTube journey, and I'm so grateful to everybody who supported me. I won't say whose clip that is. I don't want their wife finding out. 50 grand. I feel also guilty that I've encouraged you all to do it, but yeah, it's worth it. It's great. The self-recognition you get from building things. Who would have known a little boy from Wales when he started his YouTube journey, like officially properly with cars about 5 years ago or 3 years ago, I can't remember, would have reached out and hit home to all these people and got people building cars and stuff. And look, I got loads of people messaging me. We chat about mental health, we chat about life, we chat about things. We've made friends, long-term friends, from across a bridge, from across seas, all over the world. I got friends now. Do you know what I mean? It's incredible. So look, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's stuck around for the journey, and if you haven't, join the family, let's say, because we're Welsh, really like that. Join the family, join the journey, and hopefully I'll see you all at the show soon. Jesus, now that was one emotional intro, wasn't it? Didn't intend to be like that. And I played it back and I wasn't crying, okay? So I don't know why I looked like I was all teary, but I was definitely not crying. But jokes aside, big shout out to all the followers. Right then, let's roll. The car is out of the garage. Unfortunately, not under its own steam. The engine is still up there. So if you watched the last few videos, pistons are in, head is on, crank is in, all that. So you've got to put the cams in, we've got to time it up, we've got to bolt the head down, we've got to put a windage tray on, all that kind of stuff, pick a pipe, and the sump, and that engine's pretty much done. It's good to go in, give you auxiliaries on it, and then job for me to get in, fasten it all up. James come down, put on some new connectors for the injectors, because we've got 1000cc Bosches, which, yeah, with that T34, we're good for over 400 brake horsepower now, and the rest. But don't forget, this is a front wheel drive Escort, and we need to keep it practical. We have been in talks. I'm now going to have a 2-stage boost controller, so I can have a switchable map in the future, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so going on to these 1000cc Bosch injectors, which we've got, or the Anso ones, to have them in this car, it needs to have a top feed fuel rail. So we've had the rail made, fully custom bespoke rail. It's not with me at the moment, it's with James. I'll get a photo of that up, a bit of an overlay as I'm talking now. So we've got to get it out in the car. But then to fit it, we need AN6 fittings. So thanks to everybody. So we've got Paul RS Walker, we've got Mark Jones, we've got myself, brain going in the background, and we've also got James's brain going. So we need to fit these AN6 fittings to the RS2000 fuel line setup without hopefully going all the way back to the tank, because I didn't want to run all new lines. So we were going to go to the fuel pump, the fuel filter, and the connections under the bonnet. And I will flip you around now and explain to you why that is no longer going to happen. Okay, so this is a standard fuel rail. I say standard, it's got a 3-bar fuel regulator there. This fastens down. We've got, I think it's like a 19 and a 21 mil there, which run to a push fit connector there. And in there, it has a little brass barb, which connects, which I'll show you now. So yeah, this barb, okay, what happens then, this connects into here, okay? So these are what's called an EFI fitting, which is an electronic fuel ignition system fitting. So if I push that in there, you will see, hold on, there you go, you will see that now fits in, okay? And it will turn, it's meant to, and this rail is going to be around about 3 or 4 bars, so it doesn't come out further than that. It's literally got a push release system on it, hold on. Right, that's out, okay, so I'm going to put an overlay up now of an EFI male 5/16 fitting up, okay? So this is what I bought. I also bought a female one, and unfortunately they don't work. So they came with a little barb on the end over here. Well, see where our line is? They come with a barb which uses a push fit compression fitting, which the car doesn't use, and unfortunately they don't work. So I sanded it down, the new one comes anodized, I took a shine off it, and it does work, but it doesn't give me the confidence it's going to stick, okay? And with it being a fuel line, I do not want any leaks, and I do not want any fires. Also then in return, see this is a female, okay, 5/16 push fit connector. That purely just goes onto the fuel filter, okay? And I will show you, and a fuel filter does not have any form of barb or anything on it. So literally just a little compression ring on there, and pressure holds it, which for a standard fuel system probably will work, but I will always have a doubt in the back of my mind that this will not work. So yeah, so this was a new fuel filter, but remember, CV boot split and it got stinking. So that doesn't have any lips or anything on it. It's focusing. So we are going to move this across, and we're going to put a harder adapter onto here. You can see there's one on here. So they do twist and they don't come back and forth. That's the one that goes to a hard line, which I'm going to be replacing. So yeah, a lot of work, and we need to get this in, and it needs to go back here somewhere. So unfortunately, this needs to come off. But the big problem being is, when I painted the car, I put this back on the next day and fastened it down. So it's probably marked the paint. So I do need a new strut brace to replace that one. So if you do have a strut brace, okay, that covers the inlet rather than the back of the inlet, like mine, let me know, and I might be interested in buying it. Okay, so this is the one which had to be sanded down. If you look, you can see where I've taken the lip off. I'll do an overlay now. But in theory, what my understanding was, that would go into here. Hold on. Which, it does go in, and it is tight. But, and I would run hose from it, but I don't feel comfortable. And that in theory is exactly the same then as that. This over here is the equivalent to this. However, sorry, of this, okay? But for this to work, I've later found after speaking to Talks, it needs that lip to work. So let me show you something else. In theory, it would connect in that way. However, I can pull these two apart now because that lip is no longer there. So that is useless unless I buy another one of these. So now I've confused you, like I've confused myself, over these AN fittings, which, may I add, I have spent a fortune on. Put that safe. I'm talking like £150 plus for fittings from Talks and some line. Basically, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to run a hard line to the return, and then to the feed, I'm going to run a hard line adapter to my filter. So I will talk you through that now. I've done a bit of YouTube and research on Facebook, and hopefully by showing you this, that you might be able to do it, as well as knock up some fuel lines. So boring, but do you know what? There's the lines that I made. So we got a braided TPF or PFTE or Teflon lines. So with the AN6 fittings. So yeah, we're going to make these up as well as hard lines under the car. And if you're interested, stick around and let's talk a bit more around this car and about when it's going to be on the road. Okay, so I've quickly moved the filter over just to give me more room, because I don't want to be hitting the steering knuckle and all that kind of stuff on the power steering. And then this is what we get. We get this little, it's like a ferrule, I think it's called. And then we get these two fittings. So this goes on first, then this goes on, and then this goes on. And then you do one full turn tight. So yeah, let's see. I could really take this off. It probably would be easier, but it's not gonna be any easier really for me. I might as well just JFDI it. Okay, so for the purpose of the video, I actually removed it, and you can see here where I've sanded the side down. Give it a little wipe over. So yeah, this is the side where I'm gonna be fitting it to. Okay, so this goes on first. If you look at this part back here, this has a shoulder in it, showing you allows it to go so far. Don't know if you can see that. So let's get this on. Let's get this in. Okay, let's get this shoulder so we know where we're at. Okay, so that's as deep as it goes. And then let's tighten this up to the shoulder. Finger tight at the moment. Okay, and then obviously then it'll be two 18mm spanners. There you go. Yeah, nice and tight, and that seems to be as it should be. Fingers crossed. Okay, so that is fitted and it is on. So one thing I do want to do now, and we're going to have to do this with the phone sitting here, or camera, whoops. Yeah, it's going to be a bit tough, so hang on a minute. Let's see if we can get out of balancing it. Okay, so what we need to do is make sure that this doesn't go anywhere near here. Something I did do, I'm going to flip you around now. I wasn't happy with the clearance, and obviously I needed to put this right angle on here. I've taken the edge of this filter bracket off and simply moved the filter down. And I did clean it, and now look how dirty it is again. Okay, so next job, jack the car up, and simply jack it up on the subframe / lower wishbone. Wow, now I'm looking underneath here. It's oily and dirty, mind. Even though I painted the top half of the engine bay, it's embarrassing. Right, let's get this up and get an axle stand underneath it. And then I can show you the fuel line, which I'm predicting to cut. Also damaged my bumper there the other day. Okay, so jigsaw, and that line is off, and I am soaking, stinking and sweating pints. Now I need to clean that line up just like I did with the others. I'm going to use some 400 or 80 grit sandpaper and then get that hard line adapter on, and I will show you that then when I got it on. Okay, I'm going to try and show you as best I can, as well as that water pipe just leaked all over me. Right, let's have a look. Let's get up there. So you will see this is a hard line. If you allow me to cut back with a junior hacksaw, we had to clean up that area and do exactly the same process and nip this up. So now it means that this hard line can purely connect to it there like that with the 218mm, tighten it up and then run up into the bay. Okay, so accomplishment, that's done. So this goes to the side of a rail, which will be the return, okay? So I might have to nip that down. I then will follow my diagram, which I'll put an overlay up now, and talk about the fuel system. So this is a fuel pressure regulator, okay? So one will run from here to the fuel pressure regulator, okay? Sorry, yeah, to the fuel pressure regulator. At the bottom, that's right, you've got to get it right in my head. Then the other one will run out of here, okay, which will run to the rail. And then the rail will run to this. Again, I'll put an overlay now. And then this goes to the back of the inlet. That gets tightened up, probably gets fitted on the back of there. But yeah, that's the fueling system done more or less. I apologise, I have made a mistake in my video and I stand corrected. I knew what I was doing, but up there at the time I was busy talking to people passing. So it runs, okay, from the fuel filter to the rail, to the regulator, to the drain, back to the return. At least I owned up.
12 seconds later.
Okay, so how do we get to this? Nice and simple, we put tape around here, cut this with an angle grinder, okay? That will then, okay, give you the inside the PTF or TPF or the whatever stuff it's called, I can't remember, line. We need to cut a little bit of the sleeve off on the outside, okay? Then we need to use a pick and take the braid back just a little bit. Then we get what's called this little metal like collet thing that we put that on the end of the hose. I will show you how to do that now. Okay, so the next job is to cut a little bit of this edge off, then open this up with a pick. Okay, so it's critical, hard to show you, but this little ferrule thing on the end, or whatever it's called, goes right in up to the lip. Okay, so just simply now, remember, this one will go to the rail, return. This one now is the feed, which has been made, which goes up to the regulator, which will be behind there. One will run off a regulator to the rail, and then that is the fuel system all plumbed in. This leaves me with two fittings, one more right angle, one more straight connection. Hopefully the right angle will be the one that comes out of the regulator, and the straight one will go straight to the pipe. If not, I will need another right angle. But I'm going to wait until the regulator is fitted and the engine is in with the inlet to work out the rest of it, because I'm not buying any more which are not necessarily needed. So as we have acknowledged, I've done it wrong, and the video still continues to talk about me doing it wrong. So I will be back out in that garage in the morning to correct it, and I will show you a corrected version. But yeah, we all make mistakes. Okay, so at this point in the video, you have probably seen and thought, that doesn't make any sense, he's wiring that up wrong. And when I've played back the edit to watch, I've realised I have. So I'm going to have a quick flip around it now, and I'm going to get my head into gear, sort these hoses out, let's mount this fuel regulator, and let's do these hoses properly and show you the proper way. Okay, so for purpose of the video, so the fuel rail will be situated over here somewhere. Sorry, the fuel rail, the fuel regulator. I'm hoping to tuck it neatly by there somewhere when the inlet is on behind that. A right angle will come out of here and go into the fuel rail, okay? Yeah, so right angle out into the fuel rail. The other end of the fuel rail will go to here, which will be the feed. So you're looking from filter in up to fuel rail, okay? Fuel rail then to regulator, regulator to drain to return. So yeah, that is now all correct. Also, I did mention about the strap brace. Probably going to cause me an issue because I put it on and the paint hadn't really cured for more than 24 hours. I'm thinking I'm never going to take it off, so it's not going to be an issue, and it did leave damage. It's only minor. I could touch that up or repaint the tops. That's no problem at all, really. And again, over here, that'll get covered by the washer. That will get covered by the washer. But it's just unfortunate that it's got that little bit there. but it's not the end of the world. Let's put this cap back on, freshen it up a little bit. It's going to look a little bit weird out the strut brace. I'm used to having it. So yeah, that strut brace now can be for sale if somebody needs one. I think I paid about 40 quid for it. But yeah, I can get one that goes directly over top. It covers that section. So it goes kind of across here because it inlets it further back. Look, it's not the end of the world to paint the strut tops. And look, it's one of those things that can come in time. I'm not too bothered about it. So yeah, my diagram can now go in the bin because I know what I'm doing. Like I said, I've got a right angle hose left, but there, let me show you. My back is still bad for the record. Whoops. So yeah, the right angle will run off the regulator. And then that straight pipe will run to the 6AN fitting on the fuel rail. And hopefully that'll be tidy, and we've still got all this hose left in case we do need to make any alterations. I'm very lucky that these AN fittings from Torx can be reused. I've nipped them back down on the ferrules, and the hose was already there and they seem good. I might need to trim one line back a few mil and replace a ferrule and retry it if it does leak. But other than that, yeah, it's all good. I will be running PTFE tape into my regulator from the 6AN adapters, and the one also to the, I'll show you now. Yeah, to the gauge. I'm stuck and lost for words. It is 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And then, yeah, I just need to really realistically get that in. I put an overlay photo of the engine now. You can see how tight it will be. I could run it there. That's no issue, really. But it all depends when the engine is in, what kind of space I have. But ideally, I'd like it on the back of my bulkhead, so it is easy to adjust this. And yeah, and this just runs to the inlet manifold like a vacuum, as I said. Get plastic trims back in. And yeah, hopefully the engine bay will look on point. Also, I got myself these pretty cool Parkside $3.99 welding goggles. So yeah, I'm not going to weld with them, surely. But when you're underneath a vehicle, you don't have much room and you can't go and get a helmet on. It may burn my face, but these may be a saviour. Okay, so that job is a job done. Like I said, there's just one hose left to do. I wasn't going to make a video on the lines. The next video is probably going to be that engine being finished. But look, I think me being humble, being true to myself and true to all of you guys out there and girls, whoever follows, let's be inclusive. Look, I think it's important that you understand and see the work that does actually go into these builds, not just pay someone done. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean by paying someone done, I mean as in like, I could have just said, James, do the lines, do you know what I mean? But the groundwork goes in. It's taken me about 3 hours to do them 2 lines, plus a lot of work history, doing research, getting the right part, ordering the wrong parts, spending money, which I did need to spend on parts, nagging friends in the community, doing their heads in. But yeah, look, it's important that I share that the build doesn't happen overnight and you get to see the journey with me. So look, it's been off the road since mid-January up until now. It could literally be back on the road next week if we put our minds to it, but we're not going to rush it. I could be painting the gearbox, getting things powder coated, redoing like bushings and all that kind of stuff, but my car's not about that. It's a driver, it's a car that I want to use. It's going to be a car I take to shows, it's going to look absolutely great, but I can't keep throwing money at it, okay? Because like I said, I've got a young family, I got a more mature family, I got a boy who's not nearly 18 this, well, he's 18 this year, a boy who's 15, my daughter who's 13 and a half months, and we want a good quality of life, we want to enjoy our lives, so I can't throw it all at the car all the time, even though I got the other build coming up on the channel soon. But yeah, look, hit like, sub and enable notifications. I don't want to beg you guys, okay? I really do want to push this YouTube journey out now. The planners are telling me to change career path, make sure that cars is my goal now. Who knows? I want to start doing merch drops properly. I've tested water with it. I want to start doing more car reviews. I want to buy better equipment for filming and all that. But it only comes with views, because that's what generates revenue for the channel, and it doesn't make much. And do you know what I mean? I can use that, what I get every 2 or 3 months, in a tank of fuel in our Focus RS. So yeah, anyhow, look, until next time, thanks for watching.